Hi, I'm Veronica, and this is Chat With Me. I'm going to go grab a glass of wine, and if you'd like to get something to drink, go ahead, and then we'll pick an interesting subject, and I would love it if you would join me. Please sit down next to me and let's chat. Hi. So I put it out there, and I asked somebody, I said, okay, what topics should I talk about? And he said, art, music, blah, 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 and one of them was sex. Well, sex. What a huge subject. And what do you really want to talk about when we want to talk about sex? So many different things come to mind. And so I'm going to start so that it's not scripted or rehearsed or anything. I do have to say that it's not necessarily an easy subject. To some people, sex is very, very simplistic and very easy, and it comes easy to them, and and in some cases, it's not that important for them. And I think that, especially when I was brought up, we weren't, talked to about it. And yeah, birds and bees, yeah. But I mean, the importance of it or lack of importance of it. And I think it's really, I wish I would have talked more to my kids about how it can be important, but you don't want to make it important to them if it's not. So there's this big hole. What's funny though is when I was growing up, or when I was, a young adult, I learned that I was a pretty sexual person. And I didn't know what to do with that or what that meant. And I learned by the people I was with, even going to the extent of, porn or something like that. We didn't get that much. I mean, it was not easy to come by. It just wasn't. And most of it was, outrageous, but, even like different positions and things like that. And I found it so fascinating later on. I was married pretty young, and I was married to the first man I was with physically, so all I knew was what he brought to the table, and it wasn't enough for me. That's true. It wasn't. But then I began to wonder if that's what it was supposed to be. And then I, was a little bit on the promiscuous side for a while, in between husbands. And in discovering, I had discovered a couple partners that seemed to, I bonded with better or had a better relationship that way with. And then when I got married, that relationship in that respect was not very good. It was very, what do you call it? Just very, it is what it is. Not exciting. I think I was more of the type that needed to go out and find that. Well, one of the way I found that was in between my marriages, I was selling lingerie to home parties and adult toys. And I didn't know that much about them, so I was learning as I went, as I do everything. And learned so much about sexuality and being sexual, and it's so much more than just missionary and things like that. I really didn't know. And but it was such a short period of time. So, the discussion comes up too, how do you discover that without quote unquote slutting around or being with a lot of people? I mean, that's a really hard thing to even talk about, as far as how do you find it? How do you find what you are? I am so glad that I eventually found someone that showed me how much I enjoyed it and how sensual I was and how great that was. I was lucky. It was late in life, but at least I found it. And at least I know that I won't expect anything less than that type of relationship in the bedroom. So, the subject comes up to talk about sex and how do you find it and how do you figure it out. And I had great comments. I mean, I don't want nasty, dirty ones. I mean, what do you, how do you explain to people to find what that is to them? I mean, in some cases, and I'm sure I didn't have this, but I'm sure if you had a partner that you could explore with and they were just as much eager to find their way sexually as you were, and you can explore together, that's fabulous and that's great. I mean, that's really what you want. I didn't have that. Kind of found it out by accident. I kind of knew before my marriage, but I still was repressing this huge part of me. And I would hate to see my kids lose that part of their life because they didn't know better. You know, I just, it really like changed my life, so to speak. I mean, this is kind of rambling because I want to be careful about how I talk about it. But I think that I lost a lot of me because I didn't have that kind of sexual experience that I needed and that I fed upon, and that made me feel good about myself in that respect. And could it be from, you know, I didn't have great self-esteem back in the day? Could it be that I didn't have the right partners? I think it was I didn't have the right partners, to be honest with you. I wasn't with people that I could truly open up with and feel comfortable that way. And I'm glad that everything turned out, but so the big question to me is, how do you find that out without, you know, I guess that, you know, I mean, I'm rambling, but I guess the best way to find it is to be with someone that you can explore with. You know, the comfort comes before you take off your clothes. You know, are you comfortable enough with this person? Do you trust this person enough to be able to open up that way? You know, some people are just naturally open physically, and they can be open, and they don't have the trust issues, and they're fine and they're great with it, and they can be more open. I need someone, you know, personally, on my case, I need someone that I can trust to be open with, and that's just from all that I've been through. You know, we all have our certain quirks and things of that nature. So, you know, in any relationship now, I know that that's going to be important, because if I'm not comfortable there, that the relationship's not going to happen, and that's a good thing. I mean, at least I know that now. Better late than never. And I'm just throwing this out there because I don't know that much about it, and I've experimented a little bit. I know what I want. I know what I expect, but it's just curious why, you know, I look back and think, why didn't I know that sooner? But I guess I did, you know, but I didn't play upon it. And in my relationship, when I did get married, you know, I got pregnant so quick. So I felt like I needed to be with that person. And nowadays that's not so prevalent, but, you know, 30 years ago, you did what you had to do. You stayed with your partner. But so a little discussion on kind of awkward discussion on sex and sexuality. All I'll say is, to anyone out there listening, if you don't know, the biggest thing is the comfort level, I think, with your partner, and to be able to explore would be the best thing in the world with the same person. That would be awesome. So that's my discussion on sex. And thanks.